We all know communication is absolutely everything. As a listing and buying agent, you see things fall through, obviously. It's just part of the business.
Right.
What do you think could stop that from happening? Maybe dive a little bit into the communication standpoint.
Yeah, so communication is definitely key in all aspects of a deal, but definitely just being able to have those transparent conversations between agents, between a client and an agent, or, you know, between the lender and the agent. And even sometimes for me, if I'm the listing agent and there's a lender on the other side, there are times that I will reach out to that lender just to make sure that we're all on the same page, because it's a team effort.
Amen.
And we are all trying to achieve the same goal at the end of the day. So I always try to just make sure, like, hey, we're all in this together. We're trying to all help each other out, and I want to make sure we stay on track and that nothing falls through the cracks. And if something is starting to fall, that maybe, you know, two heads are better than one, like we can all come together and
Figure out a game plan.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. As a listing agent too, let me just kind of dive into this. When you have a buyer's agent that over communicates with you, do you think to yourself whenever they present an offer like, that is a good agent and I love working with them, and this offer would be great because I can work with this agent and I know we're going to accomplish the same goal?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think that's definitely an attractive, aspect to when we get an offer, and I can tell that they're on top of it and they know what they're doing. And even on our team, like when we submit offers, they're very thorough in the email. I mean, we've got it every term written out. And so there's been times where I've received offers from other agents that they're just like, it's attached and there's nothing in there, and you can kind of tell from the get-go how the transaction is going to go based on that first impression. And that's why it's so important for buyers to make sure they hire an agent who has those skills and knows that those little things matter, because that first impression to a listing agent is everything.
And I was going to say too, like you said, but buyers in general, like that, it matters who you pick as an agent, because you want an agent who has a great reputation, not only just for, like, I guess you could say closing deals, but more so even just along the fellow peers of other agents.
For sure. Yeah.
So
yeah, and it is important to keep good relationships between agents, and I know I always try to have, good interactions. And like I said, at the end of the day, we are all trying to achieve the same goal, and we are all a team.
Yes. Okay. So you do a ton of listings. However, I know you also help a lot of buyers. You definitely are an agent who can do everything, I feel like. With that being said, what is something that you feel like cost a buyer a home? What is a mistake that they just made that definitely would cost them a house?
Well, I think a common mistake I have seen with buyers sometimes is that they put the horse before the cart, in a sense, where they're eager, they get excited, they start looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, and they see these houses, but they've kind of skipped a step because we don't really know, where do we stand financially? What can you afford? What are you comfortable with in a monthly payment? Because I always tell my buyers to back into it. You may tell them they're pre-approved for a $500,000 house, but that doesn't mean that they're going to like to see that payment that comes with that. So I just think that sometimes it can definitely cost them time and potentially, a house. And if they think that they might have been pre-approved for it, if we go see it, they fall in love with it, and then we have to kind of backtrack and do the pre-approval and come to find out they're like, ooh, no, I don't want that payment that comes with that, you know. So, and then it's just, a little bit of heartache and disappointment. And I try to prevent that as much as I can, because I want it to be a fun and positive experience. So if we can prepare on the front end, it just makes it a much better experience for everyone.
I love that you said that, especially when we're talking about payments, because one thing that I see a lot of buyers make a mistake is, like you're saying, they will put the horse before the cart and they'll see a house that they love, but they also see that Zillow payment.
Yeah.
And that Zillow payment is not a one size fits all. A lot of people don't have the 20% down that it automatically puts in there.
Right.
Rates aren't always what they say they are. It is definitely, it matters about all the things. It's not a one size fit all, because I love that you said that, just because you're 100% right. Like, you have to know your payment. You have to be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So it's amazing when we see agents that also advocate for that.
Yep.
You ready? Cheers. Love it.
You have to
Okay.
drink it.
What if we do? And let me say